India's job market is changing, and having a degree may no longer just be enough. As companies expand their GCC operations and AI changes the kind of talent they need, the bigger question is whether young professionals have the skills employers are actually looking for. So, what does it take to get hired and stay relevant in this changing market? We spoke to Mr. Kumar Rajagopalan, who's a vice president and country head at India at Dexian, on this edition of Manager's Mantra on BSmart by Business Standard. Take a look. Hello and welcome to Manager's Mantra on BSmart by Business Standard. Today we're joined by Mr. Kumar Rajagopalan. He's the Vice President, Strategic Initiatives and Country Head at India at Dexian. This is to understand how AI, GCCs, and changing skill requirements are reshaping India's job market, and what do young professionals need to do in order to stay ahead. Mr. Kumar, thank you so much for speaking to Be Smart. My first
Pleasure.
question to you is typically on how India has a huge talent pool, but companies continue to talk about a shortage of skilled talent. From where you sit as an employer, does India really have a talent advantage or simply a numbers advantage?
Okay. I'll start this way. We have the talent advantage, and unfortunately, like kind of now has over a period of time has become a number advantage. But the real talent has not been tapped yet. That's how we look at it. So few things which have changed over the period of time globally, but unfortunately, India is yet to adapt to that situation. That's why we are slowly moved from the talent advantage to the number advantage. And over a period of time, I think these things would again come back and make sure that like India is retaining the top position. So, for example, the first and foremost thing what we always looked at is education qualification. We once somebody is qualified with educations and they stay with that education and say that like I'm more relevant with this educational qualification and stay with that one. But unfortunately, the world is not looking at that way. It's a base education. After that, the upskilling happens rapidly. And people are looking at when you become an expert in certain things, they expect you to upskill yourself to an extent that like they don't look at you as a person of just doing the work, rather as a person of leading the work. This is where we have lost somewhere. So over a period of time, what we have done is like we have created a layer. It's typical for a services industries. We created a layer after 6 years, 7 years, technical lead, team leads, and things like that. Once certain age comes or certain experience comes, they slowly move into the management layer. So which means we almost lost the advantage of being specialized in certain areas. And when the number kicks in, everybody wanted to become a people manager rather than a technology manager. So that swing has
What is that? What
actually
is the distinction between the two?
so the people manager is like day to day taking care of people, or I'm a manager. I command you what you wanted to do, and I command you is like kind of this is a work to be prioritized, to be done, and things like that. But don't go into the depth of the problem and say, okay, this is how I solve the problem. Technically, I put my hat there and say that like, okay, I stay along with the developers or I stay along with technical people and say that like this is how it should be solved, or even if there is a real need to create an IP around that one, don't put their head into that one to create an IP. So it is all the human centric approach has taken more because they looked at it as if like I can hire more people to get the job done instead of putting my brain into getting the job done. So this has taken a lot more impact in terms of the global outlook. So what we have done over a period of time is if a job can be done by 15 people, I will throw more, say 20 or 25 with the cost arbitrage, and say still the job can be done by more people. So we think that like infusing more people into the job can get the job done, but that's not the quality of output that's coming up. It's of course the job gets done, but the quality has at some point of time started declining because more and more people coming into that one, it only adds the layer but does not adds the quality or the output of the
Understood.
so this is where is like kind of the changing situations and environment is caught up, and right now we are in the mix of those two.
This is a wonderful, eloquent answer. Thank you for that. But what do you think is the biggest gap you see today between colleges, between what colleges are producing and what companies are actually looking for?
This is always been a discussions everywhere,
Yeah.
including multiple associations,
Yes.
NASCOMs or ISF or Associated Chamber of Commerce or CII, everywhere, corporate to campus to corporate programs. And there is a need to kind of connect to that one. What amount of college level of educations which we are building? So the biggest impact right now happening in the colleges, like all these corporates are going to get the freshers, but slowly it is also declining because of the quality of output which is coming in. But my main issue here is we leave at the secondary and elementary school educations somewhat like kind of the standard. So which means that like they are not we are not focusing on that one. So when these people come into the college at some point of time, we produce mass output in terms of the number of qualified people at that level. But when you match it up, when you don't have a base education so strong, but when you come up to the college, it's like 4 years, you put a lot of efforts to make sure that that guy is available for the corporate placement. It's actually there are few skills which are missing from individuals. One is, of course, the soft skills which we always talk about it, like it's missing. But more than soft skill, the inquisitiveness to kind of learn something new or put their mind into it to apply to a research, those are missing. What we look at it is like, okay, I am right now in a safe zone. If I get absorbed by some large companies, like next 6 to 7 years, I'll be able to do certain regular routine job. This is where my focus should be and somehow get into the corporate.
Yeah.
But when the service industry was booming, it was required because the output volume was very high and it is required. But when now the newer age technologies with AI and others are coming, we don't look at the numbers. So when we don't look at the numbers, which means that like in earlier situations, 60-30-10, which means that like 60% of the people are absorbed by all the corporates across various industries. 30% of the people go into the very, very top niche companies and the layers and the salary brackets. 10% is always eliminated. Like they
Correct.
don't get any jobs to that one.
They're
But
unemployed.
now it has flipped actually. 10% gets the maximum out of it. 30% probably would get into the corporate. The remaining 60 is filtered out because your tools are there to kind of take care of those 60% of the population, which means there is no job for them. No, there is a replacement of job happening. May not be at the higher level. Maybe is like kind of even shift to somewhat non-routine jobs, which means that like they are not a permanent employment. Rather, it is a temporary filling here and there when they can get a job to kind of find their way out. So
Mr.
that
Kumar, I would like to interject and ask you, especially considering the fact that, I mean, the advent of AI is huge right now. So
that's
how
right.
does that change what's the evolution of the job market like at this very juncture?
Yeah, as I said, so people look at more deep-rooted work which is required. For example, earlier, if somebody is writing a code for 1,000 lines, 1,500 lines in a day,
Hmm. Hmm.
these are done within 10 minutes, 15 minutes,
Correct.
which is not required. But to write the 10,000 1,000 lines or 1,500 lines, somebody has to put their mind to get their, if they are working in a particular specific verticals, the vertical knowledge which is required, or somebody who's working in certain applied science, those science knowledge is required. So typically is like kind of you require certain specialized knowledge to build that one. So which means in a team comprising of 6 to 8 people, there are specific rules which are there for 6 to 8 people to write the 1,000 lines of code. Of course, there is one person to write it end to end. But now all these are not required. The coding is not required. Somebody does not need to vet everything because it are standardized codes and things like that, which means that the person who is putting the AI into the picture should also have the knowledge of those applied science or of the vertical knowledges or the specific industry which they are working. They have to do a deep research into why I'm applying that code. So instead of blindly applying the code. There is a
Right.
difference between
So
those two.
absolutely. So as we just discussed, AI can do a lot of basic research in the sense it
That's
can do
right.
coding,
That's 60%
analysis.
of the work.
Yeah. So if AI takes away some of these entry level jobs, how does a fresher gain experience needed to eventually become, a manager or a leader?
This is the thought which always gives. Again, I'm back to the same in the first question. A very wrong perception that like somebody joins should become a manager. Okay, so that part of it is like gone. I think probably we are in the age right now. Even an individual contributor is very much important in an organization than somebody leading a team of people. That's first perception which needs to go away with that one, because I've seen architects which are isolated themselves from so many people. In fact, they are the very, very important contributors in an organization, first of all. Second thing is like the freshers when they come in, typically, it's not that like everybody is going to get a job very quickly. As I said, the 10-30% will get the job. The remaining 60% of the people, somehow they need to uplift themselves to that 30%. They have to find a way to uplift themselves. It's not going to happen within that 4 years period. So, which means that like the start should be even before the corporate college programs, like they have to be part of it. And the second is they have to get exposed themselves. So, in this era, at this point of time, I can tell you, not everybody is exposed to the international market. There are companies which are doing even the local. For example, this is an example which I always give, that one in there is a change in the overall structure even in the Indian economy. Earlier, we were focusing more on the physical works, physical places like the building the dams, roads, constructions, and things like that. But it's not anymore. Actually, the equal amount of investment is going in the digital economy.
Right.
So these guys can obviously find a way into some of the projects which are happening, not just in these metros. So
Hmm.
typical tech people, they look at an opportunity whether in Bangalore or Hyderabad, Pune, probably NCR area and Chennai. They don't look beyond the major cities, Ahmedabad or some of the major cities. But the digital infrastructure being created, which means that the projects are now going into the rural side also. There are a lot of opportunity, plenty of opportunities. Companies are engaging, trying to build a certain level of digital platforms, and which means that like these people can find a way, and even if they have missed the bus somewhere, they can find a way to get into the tier 2 and tier 3 cities, start working it out so that like they can come back into the mainstream.
Hmm.
So there are quite a long, in fact, the if I'm right at this point of time, the infrastructure investment in the digital space has at least grown up more than 200 to 250% in the last 3 to 4 years time. So to that extent that like the infrastructure is gaining momentum,
Hmm.
especially is building the smart cities, building the some of
Yes.
the areas
Infra
which are
and
happening here.
development.
That's right. So this is where they have to find a way. Not everybody is going to get a job in Bangalore or Hyderabad. It's going to be very, very difficult in the future.
Okay, so companies increasingly, they want AI ready employers, quote unquote. What does that actually mean? If I'm an MBA student graduating today, what should I be able to know simply beyond knowing how to use ChatGPT or Claude?
I probably give an example how we went about it. Then it becomes much more easier.
Okay.
When a normal phone to the mobile phone, that was a big hit at some point of time because people were
Correct.
mobility becomes much more
To
easier.
a normal
The
to a
mobile,
smartphone.
yeah, I'm talking about even a previous era.
The
To
double
a
one double zero phones.
double, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So but it gave the mobility for people, right? Like then it becomes much more easier to communicate to, not necessarily tied to one particular place. But once the mobility happened and when it became a smartphone, it actually changed here the way we look at things. It becomes even more easier. People could handle the uh, situations very, very quickly, including the banking, including everything, which is like kind of what possibly which you can think about it. In fact, people spend more time in the phone right now on activities which is other than the communication. right? To that extent, it has taken their mindset. So similar to that, the AI right now, what's happening? Initially, it was more confined to few people and say that like AI, have you used AI? But now, slowly and slowly, it has come to a point where everybody is using AI. It does not matter. At some point of time, ChatGPT or Gemini or something like that, even a normal person would now start using it, and everybody is becoming a prompt engineers. Start typing the
Yeah,
questions and refining it and becoming more and more is
correct,
like, I don't you wanted to do that
correct,
one.
correct.
So it has come to that level. So which means that like you don't specifically put any training into it. It is actually you are getting into your brain automatically to an extent that like you are every individual is becoming AI enabled. Okay, that's one part of it. The second is like, of course, what we are looking at it as an MBA person versus a tech person, right? There are quite a few things which are there. And earlier, an MBA person would normally look at it like, I won't code because I don't know the sequences. I don't want to learn anything. You guys are giving a jargon like Python and Java and things like that, which I don't want to even learn about it. In the
Hmm.
past, I'm talking about.
Yeah,
But the newer programs and after things which have come, the AI and things like that which has come, even a normal person is like, and I'm not talking about a big tech. They say that like I've created my own web page. I've created my own programs basically to automate certain things, or even I've seen a bride and groom say that like I've created my engagement programs in a marriage program is like kind of in a sequences.
mm,
So the coding has become a generic skill after that. So which means an MBA person now with this knowledge, the specialized knowledge which I'm talking about, like they have a finance MBA. This is how the analysis would do. I've done this. Is there anything above which I need to look at it? So which means
mm.
what you normally ask, say, for example, your friend, now you're asking somebody, you can even ask without any inhibition that like
Correct.
whether that person will take it, mistake me, or whether that person would
There are
think,
no
judge me,
emotions
things
linked
like
to
that.
it. Yes.
That's right. So you can now freely ask questions when you're, and in fact, everybody's presentation, everybody's email has become so good right now because they
Yeah,
they have they have created in such a way that like it works out. So all of them, all the techies have become the MBAs, and
yeah,
all the APs have become techies. So it's
absolutely.
how it's a shift in skills are happening. But more so is like kind of the if you really look at it, some of the areas what we are talking about AI is only scratching at the surface level. More so in terms of using a generic usage. Generic usage actually gives the depth of understanding why you wanted to take certain things. But in the real science, actually, it is taking much more deeper. For example, if you look at the AI enablement, it is not just at the for some of the industries, deep tech industries, which I'm talking about. They even have coupled with the quantum computing, or they have even coupled with other large data modeling and things like that. So in that case, the AI makes much more insightful for them than a normal programming would do. So there is a two levels at which it is working. One very advanced level, which is also like in the cyber world and things like that, becomes very very important for banks and others to practice that one. On the normal level, which is like kind of everybody's usage, which is important because then it becomes the mindset becomes much more easier for people to adopt that one. So that's how it is penetrating, just
Got
like
it.
how the smartphones is penetrating.
Yeah. Let's talk about GCCs. India has more than 2,000 of them, and their role is increasingly described as moving from cost centers to innovation hubs. So, what work is sort of actually moving to India that proves that the shift is happening?
Okay. It's an interesting situation right now because there was a time when the service industries were booming like anything, and slowly every company now started looking at it. Protection of IPs is very important for them. Instead of moving the work to a service industries, now they are moving their own company or building the GCCs in India. So there are two layers in which the works are happening right now. One, as you said, the AI is coming much faster than we are expecting, right? But there is a risk of associated with AI because the predictability of usage is also still a question, and the cost of using the AI is also there. So In that situation, so what happens when the implementation of AI is or enablement of AI is happening in the industry or globally, the company is now the best option to have a secondary line, or the risk mitigation line is to kind of set up in India, because there is an obvious cost arbitrage which is there. So while the AI enablement is parallelly happening, the GCCs are actually growing right now. As we talk, from 2000, it is becoming 3000, and from a mere number point of view, it is like kind of 100 billion. So which means that like we lost the 100 billion of service industry revenue. It is now taking into a shape of a GCC, which is reaching that point. But over a period of time, as you said, when the AI is matured, fully matured, this will again have a shift. It'll be a much faster shift than a service industry. So the 100 billion can come back, uh, can come to much smaller number, because the reason is the AI is enabled at that point of time. So which means that the shift is constantly happening. The GCCs are actually one way looking at it as a risk mitigation. The second part of it is like the actual work, which is basically not in terms of the cost arbitrage or anything like that, the value creations. So the value creation is where most of the companies are now building the GCCs, because they don't want the IPs to go out, build the IPs in-house. So a GCC is one of the ways of tapping the international talents and building their IPs internally, which can possibly be deployed globally for them. For example, if you take oil and gas industry, the oil fields, how certain oil fields is like kind of can be protected environmentally, or even the gas leakages, like how to kind of see that like whether distribution chain is happening. Some of these IoTs and the AI enabled smart visions and things like that can be developed in India much cheaper price than anywhere else. So which means that deep tech innovations are happening, and that will grow. My prediction is like at some point of time, the engineering brain and the deep tech innovations will happen in the GCCs, and that will be the cyber and others, that will be the main focus. And this is where probably the employment shift also is going to happen.
So, Mr. Kumar, throughout this discussion, we have concluded that skill first hiring is extensive in today's day and age. So, let me give you a choice. You have one candidate that comes from a top MBA program with an average skill set, whereas another comes from a relatively unknown college but can demonstrate exceptional ability. So, who actually gets hired according to you?
To me, is the second one.
Why so?
My thing is like, of course, the question itself is relatively hypothetical, because the person who gets into the top college obviously would have shown his skills, otherwise he wouldn't have got it. And the second person is like kind of not getting the college is probably like enough he has not demonstrated. That's leaving apart. But my choice is second, because this question always comes up in many different forums. I'll tell you, even in the hiring, the lateral hiring, right? Like the managers and between the candidates, we obviously look at like whether somebody is coming from a premier college. That's one checkbox
That
which we do.
adds value,
But
correct?
yeah, that adds value. But during the interview process, we also look at many different things, which is basically one of them is the aptitude to learn more and more. If somebody is demonstrating that one, or somebody lives in the past and say, I come from this particular premier institution, so I should get this job. So that's not taken for
The
granted.
entitlement doesn't help.
It's not there. It's not anymore there. That's why I think the long-term employment is not anywhere there right now. People should probably look at it. It's not that long-term employment meaning that I'm loyal, committed, like I should be running into this company for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. No. It's apart from the loyalty commitment. If you stay in a company for 15 years, which means that like you have a value add in that company for 15 years, you have to constantly upskill yourself and make the company to in such a way that like reap the ROI or benefit out of what you are contributing to the company. So,
Hmm.
which means every job is
Outside the
not.
gambit of your own job.
That's right. Every and in fact within your own area, every job within 3 years is replaceable.
Hmm.
So it's not the person I'm talking about. The job itself is replaced because the AI is there, or some automation is there, or even the process change in everything. So if a person is not upskilling himself, if he is going to live with his past, it's not going to help anyway. So even if it is applicable to the current employee, when I take a new employee into the organization, I look at it not his past, what he is trying to contribute to the organization. So
All
that's
right.
how the
So,
second candidate works to that one.
all right, all right. So, for a student graduating in 2026 or 2027, which three areas would you recommend building expertise in? Because you expect demand for them to rise significantly over the next 5 to 10 years.
Fantastic. AI, understanding of AI is very, very critical. It's a basic from now on. Finance is going to actually grow a lot because the banking, if you look at the number of BFSI GCCs expanding, in BFSI, in a sense that like I'm not talking only about the just a pure finance job. I'm talking about all the associated areas in the BFSI, the operations around BFSI, which includes the cybers and things like that, because people should have the faith in the economy and have the faith in the monetary system. So, which means the BFSI vertical is going to grow a lot. So, those who have a finance degree with the background of technology and things like that will have a lot more work to do. Applied in deep sciences, which is going to happen, deep tech, which is going to happen. So, which means people with a even somebody who has a very high level of physics educations will get a lot more job opportunities in the
Hmm.
future, because this is where it is more in terms of quantum and other areas are taking over than the human side of it. And the third, of course, is like kind of a typical of the services industry's background. Somebody who has the ability to convert everything into a tech platform. The mindset to kind of create a tech platform. Even a common thoughts can be created in a tech platform, or even some of the niche areas, which probably not at the highest cost, but at the lowest cost. For example, I'll tell you, an IoT device, if it costs about like 25,000, if somebody can come out with a very, very niche idea of 5,000 rupees, they get a much better opportunities than the somebody who is like day in and day out do the same thing again and again for the 25,000. So any innovations in those areas of building some of the hardware components to applied into that technology area with the software element in it, those are going to get more opportunities.
All right, my final question to you, Mr. Kumar. You started your own career as a chartered accountant and you eventually moved into tech and business leadership. So, if you were 22 years old yourself and you're entering India's job market today, what would you learn first and what would you do differently?
Okay, first of all, I don't want the thought at all. It will be very difficult for me.
Yeah.
The opportunities at that time was totally different from the opportunities right now. So
Do
even
you
I
think
don't
do you
even know
think the
whether I will
students
be
have it
in
worse
that
then or
mindset.
now?
But I would tell you is like kind of back then for us there was not much of an opportunities, because even to try it out it becomes too limited, and India was not that much progressed at that point of time.
Yes.
So even if you have a big thought cannot be deployed because because of the smaller capital base and the smaller opportunities and things like that. But now, for the if I'm in the market right now at 22, I'm coming into the market with a lot of vision into that one. I feel very optimistic because for me, there is no end to the talents at this point of time, and people are looking for talents, and the opportunities are very high. I would probably again look back. I will start with the finance only because I don't look at anything else, because
Nice.
that base gives me a lot more meaningful interactions in
All
terms
right.
of looking at everything as a number
Yeah.
objectively. So it becomes easier for me to kind of as a CA. I look at the balance sheet, right? So it's basically what are my right side and what are my left side. So it's like kind of how do I balance it out? So it helps me to that one. But
Hmm.
uh, current job market, I would say for the young generations, it's tremendous opportunity. A lot more is possible right now, and I would be very happy to be in that market.
Okay. Before I let you go, Mr. Kumar, a quick rapid fire round, this or that question. So, you just have to pick one. Degree or a demonstrable skill?
Initially, degree.
Okay. A specialist or a generalist?
specialist
Okay, MBA immediately or after gaining work experience?
after gaining work experience.
Okay. One skill that AI will make more valuable, not less.
For finance team.
Okay. One skill young Indian professionals urgently need to improve.
Uh, I would, I don't know, I can generalize say soft skills that require, but the maturity level which needs to be, they need to handle different situations because it's not the same thing like the old situation right now. Every day things changes, so the maturity is the one which I would probably say is very important. Soft
Okay.
skills
Soft
is
skills.
very
All
important.
right. So one last question. One job or career area you think will be much bigger in the year 2030 than it is today?
One job, I
Or a
can't think
career
of.
choice, yeah.
Well, I
Job
can't
or a
think of.
career choice, yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of it. It's everything, but I think quantum leap would be there very quickly.
Lovely, lovely. All right, Mr. Kumar, thank you so much for speaking to Business Standard. It was lovely having you. I'm sure our
Thank you.
audience has found this very insightful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Akshay.